look, Iran, I'm sorry, has been asking for it for the longest time. They have been sponsoring every bad news group in the Middle East who is anti-Western civilization, places where you couldn't survive a day.
Yeah.
So please don't defend them.
No, I mean, look.
No, I'm not saying you would, but
I'm not defending Iran. I was like, I swear. I was like, what the hell did I say?
You and your
what did I say
Queers for Palestine T-shirt.
Yeah.
Get rid of that.
Like, look, what I hope happens in Iran is I think what everybody across the political spectrum hopes happens in Iran, which is that there's some. I hope that folks in that country rise up, and there's some. It can't happen at the hands of the U.S. I hope that they rise up, and we see something. Circa pre-revolution.
Here's the key thing about that: rising up is so much harder than it ever used to be because of technology.
Yeah.
When we rose up against the British, they didn't have drones.
Yeah.
They didn't have cameras. You could hide. I mean, this, even up into the Soviet era, this was the case. Now, for you to rise up and somehow evade the authorities who are looking to catch dissidents, almost impossible.
Yeah. I mean, it happened to, well, I don't really know any recent examples to point to where it happened, proving your point.
Well, the original revolution, not the original, but the Khomeini revolution,
yeah.
They called that, you know what they call it? The cassette revolution.
Yeah.
We're
like six technologies past that by now.
They smuggled in the dissident's point of view on cassettes, and they played them on their fucking boom boxes.
Yeah.
That's how, and that was only 1978. That's where the technology was.
The irony is that, like, now if you want that type of information to make it feel like you have, like you're a part of a community and that you have more people there to rise up with you. The hard part is that, yeah, it's easier to get that information, but it's that much harder for the reasons that you just mentioned to actually effectuate it.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen I saw Bibi was with Trump the other day, and they were talking about transforming the whole Middle East. And again, I know Trump, look, I put up my 56 insult.
I was reading that.
You know, I got him to sign that. This is my favorite position.
Yeah.
56 horrible things he said about me, obviously, which were in, I obviously had said something about him that, so like, no one needs to lecture me about Donald Trump, but, and well before I did the horrible dinner, which changed the world completely.
I'm curious about that, about the dinner. Do you regret any part of it? Do you regret doing it? Do you regret the
why would
before or after? I'm just curious, like the way that all of it played out. How do you think about it? Do you think about it
the
as
people who hated me from before the dinner, the 10% who live on blue sky, just found another thing to hate me for. But their hatred looks ever stupider as time goes by, because their big fear was that, oh my God, I was going to be seduced. And of course, I went right back to tearing him a new asshole every week. If you don't watch my show, that's fine. You don't have to. I don't hate anybody or dislike anybody who doesn't watch it. But then you can't comment, because if you have been watching it, you see that I didn't change one bit. So there was no argument there except your emotions, except, he went to see The Bad Man. Like, yes, I'm thrilled. First of all, you're invited to the White House for a private dinner with the president. Really? You don't go? Well, then you're a fucking idiot, in my view, no matter who the president is. Two, he has all the power. So, like, maybe you should talk to him. And then, part two, like, okay, I had to make a report on it once people knew I went. Should I lie? No, that was not an option. Never has been for me. That's my bond with my audience. So I told him the truth that, yeah, that guy who lives there is different than the one you see on TV. And I kept saying over and over in the piece, like, I'm just reporting. You make your decisions. You do what you do. I'm just saying I went down into the mine, and I'm telling you what's down there that you don't know. Or maybe you do, but like, to just be like, oh no, how can it's just emotional.
No, look, if I had the opportunity, if I had the opportunity to talk to Trump, I'd be happy. I try to interview Republican officials, and the farthest right Republican that I've ever gotten on was like Adam Kinzinger, to give you an idea. And you don't really have to in this media environment because it's so bifurcated, and so you have all of these right-wing outlets. You've spoken to, people have come here and you've spoken to them. There's no need for people on opposite ends of the political spectrum to go on opposing viewpoint shows anymore because there's so many. Like, why deal with tough questions when you can just get pats on the head?
But that's what my show is every week.
Right.
My real tough show is like.
But in this new media environment, there's
Right.
very few shows that do that. I mean, I reach out to Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Their offices will never
came
respond. Yeah,
Well, you gotta reach out again. You know what? I'll call them all for you if you want. I will tell them to go on your show, and
I'd be
they will
happy to
do
have
it.
them.
Because that's one thing that is very different from the left and the right. That surprises me because usually the right wingers will go anywhere. I just had that guy on. I loved him, Wesley Hunt. Congressman, African-American congressman from Texas, Trump's biggest supporter.
Yeah.
But it's so sincere.
Oh, that's a
with Paul Begala. Okay, that's America. And by the way, loved it that they bonded. That's what we got to do.
I mean, look, I do debates. Fox LA anchor Alex Michelson, who I think
I love him.
He hosts debates between me and Tommy Lahren. I think we've been on like 5 times together already.
Oh Jesus, that's like Muhammad Ali fighting a 7-year-old blind girl. Why don't you fight somebody your own size? Tommy? I mean, Jesus.
I was on with on Piers Morgan's show today, actually, and went on with Ted Cruz's co-host, Ben Ferguson. So, look, anytime I have the opportunity to talk to folks on the other side, but I can also see at the same time why people on the other side of the aisle would say, like, why engage in this when it can just be easier and not? You know, and in this digital media environment, you really don't have to.
First of all, they should be giving me a fucking medal. All this talk about how Trump's only surrounded by ass kissers. Okay, but then when you have someone who's decidedly not MAGA, go there and speak to his face things he may never hear. I mean, I said things to hear. They should be carrying me off on their shoulders for saying to him in private, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, he did. I reported it. He didn't object to it, and he didn't object at the time.
Well, so
things like, why are you scaring people? You're scaring people. Why do you want to do that to your citizens? What you did with Obama's birth certificate was low. 2020 election, you didn't win that. I mean, I'm not saying this is going to change the world. I'm saying like your shot doing nothing, not engaging, has 0 chance.
Yeah.
Mine, this guy, I'm telling you, I know this cat a lot better than I did before. He's a people person. He talks to people. You have to keep the lines open. The stupidest thing the left does, and this dinner is a perfect example of it, is having this attitude toward the right that we won't even break bread with you. Yeah. We are so far above you that we won't even sit down at the same table with you.
Look,
that is their attitude, and that makes me sick too. I'm glad I break bread, and by that what makes them hate the left so much. They think that they're deplorables. We're deplorables, and you won't even sit down to dinner with us. Well, good luck. See how far that gets you.
Well, I mean, right now, look, we're in a position where Democrats lost the popular vote. They lost the electoral vote, and so we no longer have the luxury of excommunicating people from the party who are problematic. And so that I think that's
not talking to the other party.
Well, the
who
hard
has
part
all
is
the power.
Anybody who has any semblance of an ego, myself included, wants to see, like you see Trump engage in all this bullshit, the Epstein thing, for example, whatever it may be, the pro-peace, and then he bombs Iran, says going to release the Epstein files, doesn't do it. And you have folks on the left who say, who want to be like, you fucking idiot, I told you so. Like, how did you not see this was going to come, that this was going to happen? How did you not see that when he said he's going to lower costs for people, that he doesn't give a shit about people? He's promised cheaper healthcare before, he never delivered it, promised infrastructure before, never delivered it, promised a jobs boom and manufacturing renaissance. This guy always plays the same populist shtick and he never delivers. And so how do you not get it? But I think the way that I have to check myself often now, because the goal is persuasion, right? Like if you work in politics, the only way you win, the only way you exercise power is if you actually get in office so that you can enact your agenda. That's it. Otherwise, you're just chirping at people on Twitter. And like, while that may be fun, not that fun if you're watching the other side enact their agenda and you have ICE agents on the street.
You're right.
So I had to check myself often.